Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of The Hard Choice. Simple steps for showing up. My name is Brad Draper. I am your host. I am grateful to be with you, and I have a fantastic challenge for you today. I want you to ponder about this challenge as we go through it on this episode. It is the premise of this episode and something I feel will add you great value. Not sure why that was so difficult for my mouth to say, but it was. But nonetheless, I had such a cool experience yesterday, and it was fairly synonymous with every single time I've ever done this thing. I have a mentor. I have many mentors, but this particular mentor taught me a thing called "Let me tell you about you." The purpose of this challenge, the purpose of this act is to make meaningful connection. It is to build relationships. It is to build a bond. And when you tell somebody, let me tell you about you, you don't need to necessarily know everything about them. It's just the things that you perceive about them. It is what your perspective is of them. And the idea of this is to do it in a positive light, right? Is to add value, to add beauty, to add light to that person. Maybe they're feeling down. Maybe they need a lift up. Maybe they're just a great person and need somebody to tell them that. For whatever reason, I know you've had this thought. I should say something nice to that person. And I'm sure somebody has come to mind right now as I'm talking about this topic of saying something nice to somebody. I have done this with my wife. I have done this with my business partners. I have done this to people I barely know. So I'm going to take you back 2 days ago. I left the gym. We have this front desk person, and she's awesome. She's amazing. She's always just a little ball of light. She's always happy. She's always well put together. She works from 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. Monday through Friday, just part-time as a front desk lady at the gym I go to. And this gym until that point had no formal employees. It was let yourself in, take care of things, get out. It's just a private club, really small. And I love it for that. In fact, every member loves it for that. And this front desk woman, she is perfect for the position. She just helps where needed. Otherwise, she just kind of manages the situation and kind of cleans up here and there. Even though being a private club, members do a very, very good job at putting things away in their proper place, maintaining cleanliness, but she maintains toilet paper and paper towels and hand wipe, the hand cloths to clean down the gym equipment with, just little things, and helps where she can. And she's awesome. And she's always just so happy and so chipper and so bright and put together, and she's just so nice. And as I was leaving the gym, I had these thoughts. Man, she's just so happy. She's just a little glow bug, and she's just so fun. I really enjoy seeing her every morning. She's just a morning ray of light that's there for everybody to see. She's just super beautiful in all things. And as I got in my car, I had the thought again that of these different characteristics of this employee. And I pulled away and I had the thought, you should probably let her know these things. You should probably turn around and tell her that. And I have come to know, I thought I turned my phone off. Apparently I didn't. I have come to learn, let's turn my phone off so that doesn't happen again. For myself, when I have these thoughts, I better act on them. I've done this many times. And so I flipped my car around, went back into the gym, which I got to pull my phone out, unlock the front door because it's locked via an app, and walked up, and she wasn't there. She was not in the front desk. And I thought, maybe she's walking around the gym. Maybe this is somewhat of a test. Do I turn around and just say I tried my best? Or do I fulfill the thought that I had, which is you should let her know these things? And I looked around and I didn't see her in the gym. I thought maybe she's in the restroom. I'll kind of linger around for a second. And it really was just a second. Here she came bebopping out of the bathroom. And I walked straight up to her and I said, let me tell you, I said, I had a thought that I needed to come in and share with you. She said, okay, what's that? And I said, let me tell you about you. And she sat there, and all of a sudden the light she had exploded. Super big smile, super excited, but a little bit unsure. She's clearly never had this situation occur. And I proceed to tell her all these things, that she's such a glow bug and so happy and so fun to see and just so beautiful in so many aspects. And I appreciate her and I'm grateful for her. And she about started crying and asked if she can give me a hug. And we walked over to the desk and we chatted for just a couple of minutes about my kids and her kids and just her thoughts on working there and the atmosphere and what her thoughts are being an employee, the only employee for this facility, and being 5 a.m. to 9 a.m., right? It's quite early. She gets up at 4 a.m. to be there. And that she's not a morning person, but she has to fake it till she makes it. But the connection I made with this person is now so much stronger. I would bet to say this woman would go through war for me because I did this for her. And it's not that that's what I was seeking. It was just an initial thought. Let me tell you about you. But that is traditionally the response I get. When I do this to people, I create such a bond and I give them so much value because I'm not fluffing things. I'm not saying things to boost their ego. I'm saying things that I genuinely and passionately see. I'm saying things that I truly believe to be true about them. Whether they believe it or not is of no bearing. It's the things that, from my perspective, I see. And it's designed to boost them up, to raise them up. And in raising them up, your relationship is raised up. And every person I've ever done this to, we have a much tighter bond, and that person would go to war for me. It is such a cool experience. And I challenge you, when you think of somebody, because somebody has come to mind, I'm sure they have, let me tell you about you. Let me tell you and show you what I see in you. Not just your potential, but who you are now, from my perspective, and how beautiful of an experience that is. And the very first time I ever did it, I'm not going to lie, it was pretty nerve-wracking. I was a little bit nervous, a little bit apprehensive, a little trepidation there. But it always, without fails, turns out to be a beautiful experience for myself and for the person receiving. I've never had anybody reject me for it, and they all sit there with excitement and interest to see what I have to say. And usually they're very, very confused as to what I say when I mean, or what I mean when I say, let me tell you about you, and proceed to tell them my perspective about them. I challenge you to do this in life, often, regularly. When you think of somebody and you have a good thought about them, or you think of a positive characteristic about somebody, go tell them that. Don't just sit back and have it in your own mind for you to stew on and for you to have for your own little treasure box. Share that with them. I am of the firm belief that you receive these impressions to share them with them, that you may just be the angel they're praying for that day. Maybe they're supremely struggling. Maybe they need somebody to boost them up a little bit, to pump their ego, or to share with them of the things that they're trying so hard to execute. It is very, very, very apparent that this front desk lady tries her very best to show up looking professional, looking her best, whatever that is. It is apparent. And she confirmed she does do her very best. And even on days where she's rushing, she tries to put on makeup. She tries to do her hair. This is a woman that walks into the door at 5 a.m. with freshly curled hair, freshly put on makeup, and typically wearing something that's appropriate for the space we're in, but not loungy by any means. It's intentional. Share that with people when you have these thoughts of love and compassion and you see these characteristics in people. Tell them that. Tell them your thoughts. I know the first time you do this, it will be a little bit nerve-wracking. You will do so with a little bit of an apprehensive demeanor. There's going to be apprehension there. And that's okay. It's because you're doing something you've never done. and you don't know the reaction because you've never experienced the reaction. But I'm telling you now, it is a beautiful experience every single time, without fail. And how important it is to have these meaningful connections with people. It is not so much who you know, but it's who knows you. And a way you cast a remembrance about you is to do something memorable. If you want people to remember you, you've got to do something worth remembering. That goes in both directions, right? That can be of an unresourceful side. You did something stupid. You were a jerk. You were mean. You're going to be remembered because of those things. Or you can do something positive. You can impact their life for the good. You can do something better for somebody else. And in doing this thing, you're remembered. And then down the road, maybe they need that memory. Maybe they need this experience. Maybe you need this experience. Maybe you need this memory. I now have it in my journal of doing this thing for this employee. Guess what? When I read this journal in 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now, I will remember it succinctly because it's worth remembering. It's memorable. Do things that are memorable for others, and then your Rolodex of how many people know you will increase. If you add value to other people, you will be of value. And adding value to others increases, because it increases your value, it increases their value. And now you are someone worth knowing. You are now someone worth being friends with. You will now be the guy or the girl in a thing. We all want to be the guy or the girl in a thing. Whatever the thing that you do is, you want to be the person, the name that pops up when somebody needs that service, that resource, that smile, that hello on the phone. You want to be that. Because if you're not, you're just an average person. And an average person does very, very little. They show up, they check the boxes, they go home, the end. There's not much to remember about them because they're not doing things that are memorable. Show up for others. Be there for others. Love others. That is my challenge to you. Don't just keep that to yourself, but share it. When you have feelings of joy, bliss, happiness, satisfaction, ecstasy, share that with people. Let them know you care. I know it may feel weird. It may feel odd because you've never done it. That's the only reason. It's uncomfortable because you've never been in that zone. It's unfamiliar. So make it familiar. And the more you do this, the easier it will to come. It will be easier to do and become. I promise you, beautiful things are in store when you tell others about them. When you love others and verbally share it. I leave that with you. And I want you to have this conversation with your friends, your family, your loved ones. Share this episode. Go up to people and tell them about them. Open your heart. Be vulnerable. And they will reciprocate. It's a beautiful experience. I promise you. You can find me on socials, Mr. Brad Draper, as always. Like the thing, subscribe to it, download for future listenings. Until next week, I love you guys. Bye.